Continue our coverage on what is happening here at the Connected Summit 2023. Today being the closing day, and of course we expected to hear more about the resolutions that have been reached in this place, as well as the way forward in driving and deepening ICT services and products in the country. Remember, the National Assembly is a critical component in the ICT industry, because apart from their oversight role, they're also in charge of the legislation agenda, and so a lot of legislations and a lot of laws in this country, they are the people who have drafted them, and remember, they dictate the direction each sector is going to take, each department is going to take, and so they are very critical in driving the agenda of ICT here in the country. Joining me on the set this afternoon is Hon.Benard Kitur. He's a member of Parliament for Nandi Hills and also a member of the Information, Communication and Innovation of the National Assembly. He's going to help us understand, in terms of the legislative agenda, what is their role and what they are doing to drive and to develop ICT in this country. Thank you very much indeed, Mheshimiwa, for joining us here. First of all, let me understand, what is your role as the National Assembly in ensuring that the country develops ICT-wise?
Thank you very much, Brian. First of all, today or the last couple of days, we've been having a conference, the summit that brings together all the stakeholders in ICT, both from the software to the infrastructure, both vertical, horizontal, all players within the government are here in Mombasa. And part of the things that the discussions that we've been having, of course, with the support of government, as you've seen, the ministers the cabinet secretaries from almost all key sectors in government have been in this place, and the National Assembly members have been here, those in communication, innovation and information, to showcase and support most of the discussions that have been going down here, because at the end of the day, the ratification that will be agreed, we must be able to put them into law or create regulations or policies. And lastly is, we support the fact that the president has put his eyes on matters technology, because this is our new gold as a country, or as we say, the new oil. This is an area that is going to shove in a lot of revenues for our nation and give jobs to many Kenyans, many young Kenyans, and also Kenyans are very brilliant. Now we are at such a time that the country is going towards the ICT direction, and us as Parliament, we are here to make sure that we will support a couple of ratifications that will be passed on today here.
Of course, you have been in office as Parliament for less than 7 months now, but of course there was no time to take any LAR. You had to hit the ground running. What are some of the legislative agendas that you have planned to ensure that the sector is well regulated and the ground is well set for growth?
Let me begin. About a week ago, or a few days ago, the President of the Republic of Kenya made a raft of policies, some of which to make sure Kenya becomes a destination for international ICT firms and even the local budding innovators and ICT young people who want to have an opportunity in this country, is on the aspect of ownership of companies. That then now we are opening up Kenya, that anybody who wants to invest in this country, we reduce the red tapes. But when you come to a few of the regulations that we've been able to pass or support, part of which is right now in Parliament is the Cybercrime and Computer Misuse Act of 2019, which is now going through a number of repeals, so that we want to make it a bit more friendly, as much as we are guarding the users and the Kenyans from access to the data. Those are some of the things that we're passing on. The second one is the Data Protection Act, which now again we are doing a lot of amendments towards the same, so that we want to have a way, Brian, that most of the international tech companies, you do not need to export our data way out there. We want to store our local data within the country, so that you can only utilize it from within. So those are the safeguards that we want to bring on. As well as we continue the same discussions, it's also to look at it from the aspect of taxation. When these taxes are done, we want the due revenue that is generated within the country, at least the taxation of such remains in Kenya. So such things are a bit complex, but we are having now stakeholder discussions that you see now going down down here. And this is going to make sure that we are able to safeguard ourselves as we advance at a very fast rate towards adopting technology.
You highlighted what the president did last week when he met members of the American Chamber of Commerce, and one of there are two policy issues that he pronounced himself on that he wants to be relooked into. One of them is the digital service tax at 1.5%, and of course the other one is the 30% local ownership law for ICT companies. Have you started conversations on how this can be amended?
Since now it came from as a policy of government, now it will be for us now to come and have a discussion as the Committee on Information Innovation and in Parliament, so that then when we look at the greater picture of the same, I know even as we go forward, we'll have a bit of public participation, and then we'll be able to now pass this draft of serious policies that is going to help our country. And I want to add this, Brian, that even as we do all this, our consideration is the young people in our country. We have most of the TVETs in our nation, even as the government now is rolling the 100,000-kilometer fiber network, and even as we're having computers being delivered to most of the local technical institutions within the country, we want now through that also in part of legislating some of this, creating this legislation and supporting the international giant tech firms, we want to see how then also the locals are able to benefit, especially the young people. And I can tell you, we are now on the superhighway of changing this country, particularly the young people. I want to encourage anybody who has a desire to be in technology, your time has come.
Very well. Before I let you go, Mheshimiwa, by the time the current parliament elapses back in the in 2027, I want you to describe for us how the ICT landscape will look like.
It will be, first of all, Kenya is going to be one of the biggest exporters of technological services in the region. I can guarantee you, Brian, that we are going to beat Rwanda, which apparently now, because of the way the president of Rwanda had put his focus onto the aspect and area of technology, the current president of the Republic of Kenya has mapped it very well and seen that this is an area that we can be able to benefit. I want to encourage every Kenyan, every young Kenyan, every citizen of this nation, let us embrace technology. In 2027, everybody in the world will be looking for Kenya as a destination for getting the best services in ICT. Very good.
Thank you very much indeed. And of course, I will be watching and keenly to see and ensure that that is done, because the desire of every one of us is exactly what you have outlined here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mheshimiwa, for joining us here. And of course, we wish you well in your legislative and oversight agenda going forward. Thank you very much. We've been talking to Hon.Benard Kitur. He's a member of Parliament for Nandi Hills and also a member of the ICT Committee of the National Assembly, helping us to understand what is the role of the committee in driving the growth of ICT here in Kenya. And of course, you have heard it from him. We're coming to you live from Diani, where the Connected Kenya Connected Summit 2023 is taking place. Remember, today is a closing day, and of course, we are keeping an eye to see exactly what will come out of this great committee. Back to you, Jacqueline Wambiru.
Well, indeed, we shall be keeping you updated on the resolutions that will be adopted at the Connected Summit 2023 later on in our subsequent bulletin.